Hey, it's another Victory Monday. 2-0 sounds pretty good. And you know why the Dolphins are 2-0? Because you subscribe to Dolphins Today. We're really close to our goal. Need 178 more to reach 45K. So let's make it happen. If you haven't already, subscribe to Dolphins Today by Chat Sports and follow the best team in the AFC, the Miami Dolphins, baby. 2-0. It's a Victory Monday. Dolphins Today starts right now. All right, Sunday night football recap. It was a little bit of a roller coaster game, I'm not going to lie. But most importantly, when the clock struck 0 after 60 minutes of play, the Miami Dolphins take it home, 24-17 the victory. And this was kind of a completely opposite game that we saw the Dolphins play en route to the Week 1 victory. But 2 road games to start the season, and Miami is 2-0. You got to love what Mike McDaniel is building here in year number 2. 24-17 wins, a divisional showdown on the road in Foxborough. Look, it's hard to win on the road in the National Football League, and the Dolphins have done it twice in 2 weeks to start the season. So how'd they get it done? 24-17. It was a total team effort. We're going to get into all of it, but I think it's important to note that early in the game, Jaylen Waddle was making plays, as was Tyreek Hill. The entire offense was making plays, Raheem Mostert, but late in that fourth quarter, Jaylen Waddle went out with an injury on that helmet-to-helmet contact, left the game in the fourth quarter. He was evaluated for a concussion, and later today, or earlier today, I should say, it was in fact announced that he's entered concussion protocol, and he's progressing well. Mike McDaniel said he's progressing in hopes of being ready for Week 3 against the Broncos. But we know what kind of playmaker Jaylen Waddle is. He's paramount to the success of this Miami Dolphins offense. Look at his career stats. I mean, 187 receptions, better than 2,500 yards, the 14 touchdowns. But what he's made his money in his calling card, kind of the identity of Jaylen Waddle, is that average yards per catch is better than 15 yards per pop. Late in the season a year ago was the best in the National Football League. But we know his guys look out for him. Tyreek Hill was talking about Jaylen Waddle after the game, and yes, the team won, and Waddle was up joking around with his guys, so it's not like he was down and out. He was having conversations. It seemed to be in good spirits, and Tyreek Hill was asked about Jaylen Waddle, and he kept it short and sweet, man. They said, Tyreek Hill, what can you tell us about Jaylen Waddle? And he kind of looked at him, smiled a little bit, and said, yeah, he's good. So he's in concussion protocol. We'll keep an eye on that and monitor that situation as the week progresses. But chances are Jaylen Waddle is progressing nicely, and it'll be one of those things that works itself out as the week progresses. You can never be too cautious with a head injury, but Jaylen Waddle in good spirits and in concussion protocol already here in hopes to be ready for Week 3. But I mentioned Tyreek Hill. He was talking a lot after the game because he had a lot to say, and why not? He also talked about the Patriots fans and the hostile environment at Gillette Stadium. And take a look at this quote. It's pretty funny. Those fans are some of the worst fans in the NFL, and I'm going to stand on that. They are real nasty. Some of the things they were saying, I wouldn't say in church. So yeah, it felt great to wave goodbye to the fans, and I'll do it again. Bye! Now also keep in mind, Tyreek Hill has a little bit of history with Patriots fans. Go back to 2018. A Patriots fan was arrested in a game at Gillette Stadium for throwing a beer at Tyreek Hill after he scored a touchdown. So maybe, I think Patriots fans, you just got to take the hint. Tyreek Hill, he's going to score touchdowns, and it doesn't bode well to talk smack or in 2018 to throw anything at Tyreek Hill. So just pump the brakes a little bit there, and that's why Tyreek Hill probably felt like he needed to sound off to the media a little bit after that game to just kind of stick it to Patriots fans once and for all. But considering Tua's 5-0 against Bill Belichick and the Patriots, I think the Dolphins are letting their play speak for themselves. So Miami's 2-0, big win on Sunday Night Football over the Patriots, and it's Monday, so you know that means it's Overreaction Monday. We've got Lots to get to. Some of it are my overreactions, and some is I've just been seeing what's being said on the internet, on the message boards, on our comments. I read through all the comments last night. There's a lot of overreaction to get to. We're going to start with some positives. I'm a positive guy. You're a positive guy. The Dolphins are 2-0. Let's keep it positive. And first overreaction from Monday, the Dolphins defense might be legit. I was, hand up, I was extremely worried after week one. I mean, they gave up 233 yards rushing to the Chargers. Now, take a look at the side-by-side comparison to see the improvements of the Dolphins defense in week two against the Patriots. So week one, 233 yards rushing by the opposition. Week two, 88 yards only on 25 carries. The yards per carry was just 3.5, just the one touchdown. The longest run they gave up was 18 yards. So in each statistical category, the Dolphins defense were leaps and bounds better than in week one. And it's not just the run defense. Overall, the Dolphins defense, most importantly, forced 2 turnovers to help Miami win the turnover battle, and they put pressure on Mac Jones. 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. The 1 interception by Xavien Howard was at a crucial point in the game. The forced fumble by Bradley Chubb was also important because the Patriots were driving at that juncture of the game. And I think you can emphatically say that the Miami Dolphins defense made a gigantic leap in terms of production from week one to week two, to where now maybe there's not as many questions that we had after week one with this Miami Dolphins defense. So I ask you, what is your confidence level in this Dolphins defense? Because 2 games in, we've got 2 drastically different samples. First week, not great. Not great in any capacity. Second week, very impressive. Both stopping the run, forcing turnovers, and once again, when the game was on the line, it was the Dolphins defense that stood tall. So that's our pinned comment of the day. Your confidence level in this Dolphins defense. Scale it for me, 1 to 10. Dolphins Today is sponsored by AG1. Now, I drink AG1 literally every day. You get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at drinkag1.com/chatsports. And I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health. I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great as well. AG1 checks both of those boxes. And I take AG1 every morning, makes me feel ready to go and ready to take on my day. And I came into this football season wanting to get a little bit healthier, and starting AG1 has helped me do just that. I take it every morning, and it helps me feel happier, healthier, and more energized. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally could not be any easier, which is why I trust AG1. All I do is mix 1 little scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing each morning. Boom, done. I also like that it costs less than $3 a day. It's pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients, which is a win-win. And if a comprehensive solution is what you need for your supplement routine, then AG1 is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. And that's why I love AG1. It's going to promote gut health. It's going to support immunity, boost focus and energy. And like we've said, it tastes great. It checks all the boxes. It's what you call a win-win. So go to drinkag1.com/chatsports. That's drinkag1.com/chatsports. Check it out. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. drinkag1.com/chatsports. All right, now we've given the defense their flowers, and rightfully so. They deserve it. But that offense also deserves some praise. Now, the standard they set in week one, they lit the scoreboard up, 36 points. Obviously, you're not going to score 36 points every single week in the National Football League, but this offense is still humming. And at times, last night on Sunday Night Football, they showed how lethal they can be. It wasn't as consistent as we saw in week one, but take a look at some of these numbers. They're averaging better than 7 yards per play. That's the best in the NFL. That's better than a yard ahead of the second best team in the National Football League in that category, the San Francisco 49ers. The 925 total yards they've compiled through 2 games. Yep, that's the most in franchise history in a 2-game sample to start the season. Also leads the NFL, 715 pass yards, most in the NFL. And now this isn't the most telling stat, but 38 first downs. It's the most in the National Football League. That tells me they're sustaining drives. Also, what tells me they're sustaining drives and have that consistent approach to the offensive side of the football, 389 yards versus the Patriots, 6.4 yards per play, and they've been balanced. The running attack was much better last night. Raheem Mostert was a dog. We're going to get into that, but 145 yards on the ground as a team, very impressive. Still had the 1 turnover on that deep ball that Tua threw, and that's an area that Tua can clean up, which, when you think about how good the offense has been through 2 games, knowing that Tua can still clean it up a little bit and this offense can be even better, and that's a scary thought for the opposition. They possessed the ball for 30 minutes and 19 seconds last night. And again, it wasn't an A-plus performance by the offense last night. At times, it looked like the most lethal offense in the National Football League, but they can be more consistent. Now, another positive reaction from Sunday Night Football. I started to touch on it, but Raheem Mostert deserves his own line on that graph, baby, because he was a dog on the ground, toting the rock with confidence. 18 carries, 121 yards, 6.7 yards per carry, and 2 tutties. Also, that 43-yard scamper when he was untouched on the first play of the drive, that gave the Dolphins a 2-touchdown lead late in the fourth quarter. Now, the Patriots did come back and score and even got the ball back. So without that touchdown, we're looking at a totally different game. But you got to credit Raheem Mostert for his performance running the football last night for the Miami Dolphins. And what's a running back without his O-line, right? The O-line, again, round of applause. They deserve some credit. Tua was sacked once. However, the running game was impressive in all capacities by this Miami Dolphins offense. Raheem Mostert running behind that offensive line. It was a thing of beauty. Now, this isn't exactly my own take. It's everybody's take, including the odds makers. Tua is the NFL MVP after 2 weeks of play. Now, I know we don't give out crowns for the 2-week MVP. It's like the September Heisman in college football, right? It's still very, very early. So let's pump the brakes. Yes, this is an overreaction Monday. Yes, but Tua is your favorite to win MVP in the National Football League. 6-1 odds right now because he's been impressive. He's dazzled at times. We know he has a whole host of weaponry to work with. Jaylen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, even River Craycraft had a couple of big catches last night in the win. Braxton Berrios stepped up in the passing game as well. And Tua is off to a blazing start so far this season. The 715 yards, the 4 touchdowns, and he can clean up a little bit. 2 interceptions in 2 games. But he is your favorite to win the National Football League MVP right now. He's ahead of Josh Allen. He's ahead of anybody because he has played the best in a 2-week sample size. That's why Tua Tagovailoa is your favorite to win the National League Football League MVP, the NFL MVP. Let me try that again. Does Tua win the NFL MVP? Type Y for yes or N for no. Let me see them in the comments. Right now, early voting, I think Tua wins the MVP. There's no reason why he doesn't. He's been that good. He's been that impressive. Frank Smith, Mike McDaniel doing a brilliant job on the offensive side, putting him in positions to be successful. The rest of the Dolphins offense also clicking on all cylinders. And then when you add in a run game, forget about it. Raheem Mostert between the tackles, everything you want on the offense is happening for the Dolphins. And they can even be better. Now, we got to get to some negative reactions because the sky is also falling on Overreaction Monday, and the Dolphins haven't played perfect, so we got to talk to it. I think there's legitimate cause for concern in the kicking game. Now, Jason Sanders went 0 for 2 on field goals last night. One of them was blocked in a spectacular play by the Patriots. They read the snap count. They timed it up. They had a guy come from way outside and time it perfectly because there was a little bit of a tell. But Sanders hasn't been great. Now, 3 for 3 in week 1, but he missed that crucial extra point in week 1 against the Chargers, combined with the 0 for 2 last night on Sunday Night Football. And this stat is also a little bit concerning. 3 for his last 13 on field goals of 50-plus yards. And nothing personal against Sanders, but he plays a position that you could describe as replaceable in the National Football League because there's always free agent kickers available because it is that type of position that's very easy to plug and play. So who might you ask? How about Robbie Gould, one of the biggest names in kicking over the last probably 2 decades of the National Football League? He's a proven veteran. He's been really good for a long time. The Niners opted not to offer him a big contract. Of course, they drafted Jake Moody out of Michigan. 3rd round. They spent a 3rd-round pick on a kicker because that's how important the kicker is in the National Football League. So Robbie Gould is a possible replacement. He's available. And I know he's 40 years old, but he went 27 of 32 last year, which is pretty dang good, and was also 2 for 2 from 50-plus, which is the area that Jason Sanders struggles in. So, another question for you. Need you to weigh in here because I think it really is a sound debate with both sides of the argument making sense in some capacity. Do you want Jason Sanders to remain as the Dolphins kicker or for the Dolphins to bring in Robbie Gould? Type JS for Jason Sanders or RG for Robbie Gould. Other negative reactions that we have to get to. Yes, Jason Sanders wasn't great, and the offensive line played well. So I think it's important to note that before we get into one of the specific gripes that I have, that a lot of people watching the game had, that were all in the comments, and that is Connor Williams. I don't think he needs to go, but I read that on the internet. The internet is a crazy place. You can go crazy reading all the Twitter comments, all the comments on X, all the comments on YouTube. A lot of people upset because there were 2 different instances, again, in this game in which Connor Williams botched the snap or the center exchange with Tua. Now, was it on Tua? Was it on Connor Williams? I think the first missed snap inside the red zone, I think it was even inside the 10 to Tua, was probably on Connor Williams. And then that other one under center in which they botched the exchange. I don't know if that's on Connor Williams or if it's on Tua. But either way, that needs to be cleaned up. The ball is too precious to have unforced errors that could lead to costly turnovers, or like it did last night, it wasn't necessarily a costly turnover, but on 2 crucial 3rd downs, the Dolphins weren't able to execute the play because of the botched center quarterback exchange. Now, Connor Williams, this is his 2nd year with the Dolphins. He spent the previous 4 with the Cowboys. He was drafted out of Texas. And I think he's a good player. He hasn't always played center. He spent some time at guard. He's a good, fundamentally sound offensive lineman that's a proven veteran in this league. We just got to get the center quarterback exchange down. So I'm not quite ready to sound the alarm and say Connor Williams has to go, but we got to clean up those snaps and the exchanges with the quarterback. So, to recap, Overreaction Monday, a lot of positives. The defense might be legit. If they play the way they did on Sunday Night Football, they are legit. The offense is still humming. It's arguably, and most statistics would point to it being the best offense in the National Football League. And Raheem Mostert, wow, he has established himself as a premier running back in this league. I expect teams to continue to try to stop the pass the way Bill Belichick and the Patriots did last night, which will continue to open up wide running lanes for Raheem Mostert. Tua, he's my NFL MVP. September Heisman, right? September MVP. He's putting up incredible numbers, and the rest of the league is taking note. I do think we got to do something about the kicker position. That's my biggest takeaway on the negative side of things from Sunday Night Football. Jason Sanders, maybe he's not quite on the official hot seat, but it is very, very warm. He is on thin ice, in my opinion. And Connor Williams, just clean up those snaps, man. Continue to play well as an offensive lineman, but we can't have any more botched snaps. We can't have any more botched center-quarterback exchange. All told, I feel fully confident and comfortable in saying the Dolphins are the team to beat in the AFC. They're one of just 2 undefeated teams 2 weeks into the season in the AFC. Really impressive what the Dolphins are putting together. And I know we still have a couple of Monday night games that could result in undefeated teams in the AFC or in the NFC for that matter. But in 2 games, Miami has certainly established themselves as a premier upper echelon team in the National Football League. So if you want the Dolphins to keep winning, it's real simple. You just got to subscribe. Sub for Dub, Dolphins Today, daily Dolphins content. We've got updates on all the injury news, just like we started today's show with the update on Jaylen Waddle. We've got real-time analysis, real-time watch parties, up-to-the-date Dolphins coverage, and it's all happening on Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. So subscribe. Hey, we're 2-0. We're having a blast. I'm 2-0 in Dolphins watch parties. It's been a blast. If you've joined us on those, be sure to join us Sunday because all we do is have fun and all the Dolphins do is win. Subscribe, youtube.com/Dolphins News, and just stay tuned for more Dolphins coverage. The Dolphins are 2-0, baby. We'll keep it rolling. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. See ya.